This is our asparagus patch. It needs to be redone. Of course, the grass has really got ahead of us here. But anybody who's never grown asparagus, okay, it starts off like this. This is the stage actually you cut it at. We could probably take this one now or this one even still. But once they start flowering out, you do have to let them grow after a while. You have to stop harvesting. But see how they come up? And these things will come up like a great big vine. They almost look like, what is it, dill? They almost look like dill?
Yeah, a little bit. They spray out like a nice little fern. They're very fine feathered on the top.
Yeah. But what we may end up having to do here is, my wife's recommended, we might just dig the whole thing up and dig the roots up. Because we're like a root plant, and just redo it basically.
Yeah, this bed's getting pretty old.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, you just break them off, you know, like that, and yeah, they're good. Nice, dude. Anyways, we expanded the gardens. I guess I'll show you.
Here.
I hope to get this running again someday. This is a what year was this one? I can't remember. I think it's a 54. It's a Ferguson TEA 25. It's got the British Standard engine in it, for any tractor guys out there. It had a Freeman trip bucket loader on it. I still have it. I haven't decided whether I'm going to leave it as a loader or not. Never really worked that good, but it might be handy if you're pushing some snow around. And I'm working on it. I got to get a new, well, just about all the electrical shot. I got to get all new cap and rotor, points condenser for it and everything. It was running. We used it on our farm when we did have a farm that we were almost going to get. I've did a lot of work with this. I bush hogged, plowed, disced, cultivated with it. I ran a baler with it too. Actually, I baled some hay with it. Nice tractor, really. And if anybody out there is wanting a small tractor for their, say they're getting like a smaller homestead, you don't want to spend a lot of money on like a Kubota or one of these newer ones. Honestly, for the price, you're never going to get a better tractor than something like this one, a Ferguson, a model TEA 20 or TE 20 or TO 20 actually. They were built in Detroit. Tractor overseas, Detroit, whatever you call it. Or another very similar machine, almost identical, is the Ford 8N, 9N, and 2N. The 8Ns have a road gear, a fourth gear, which is good if you're traveling from farm to farm or whatever. The 2 and the 9Ns only have 3 speeds, but basically other than that, they're all virtually the same type of machine, about the same horsepower. They'll all do general jobs around the farm. 3-point hitch. They're not what they call live PTO. I can get into that another day. Maybe I'll make a video on tractors someday. Anyways, we'll show you. We did a little expansion on our other garden. This is our shady garden that we put more of our cool crops in. And I decided instead of having a laneway that was twice as wide as I needed, I expanded this garden for my wife here. We might as well make all the use we can this year of whatever. And I've just basically moved the laneway up this way to drive through, because I have a driveway I can drive around my property here. And there's the old barn cat. Hey, Stinky. Anyways, so just showing you some other updates, I guess. And
now, how was this to till up yesterday?
Well, yeah, it was really hard. Because I've been driving on it and packing it down over the years with the vehicles, and it's been so dry lately, like we haven't really had a lot of, I think overall this year we've had good precipitation, but the last few weeks have been pretty dry, and I think, honestly, I think the air's been dry, so everything's drying up faster after rain too. I've been noticing that. But no, the first tilling I tried, the tines are basically just bouncing off the ground. All it did was cut up a bit of the grass, so I took the garden hose to it, soaked it down a bit, and I came back right after supper and tilled it one more time. But now this is great. After this, now probably tomorrow if it dries up, I can do a really good tilling on it now and finish that. We'll get another 3 or 4 rows out of this. You know, we might as well make the best of it. And I've got another couple of small places. I might make some more small plots before the season's too late to plant anything.
I'm always happy to hear that.
Yeah, well, you know, why cut grass? What good does grass do anyways? Nothing. But,
the cabbage and broccoli over there have really perked up good since we got the rain too.
Yeah, that's all of our, this is the stuff for selling or storage?
This is the stuff for early eating and freezing and selling a little bit of.
And these onions, by the way, which we have to weed, because this was from last year, and I never got around to digging them up because they didn't actually grow that good last year. Part of that reason is because this garden is very fertile. I must have put almost a foot of manure on it, and I'll tell you why. Because up along this tree line here, all I kept doing was hitting roots and rocks every time I was tilling. It was the worst. So I actually built up the back almost a foot, and I let that sit a year, and it basically composted in the garden. But because it's so fertile, root crops like onions and radishes don't do well up here. We grew radishes. The leaves were huge and the bulbs were itty-bitty things. But we left them, and they kind of just came back up on their own, so we're just going to leave them and see how they do this year. I don't know how much bigger the bulb will get. They're certainly doing a lot of nice green shoots on them.
Yeah, they're doing really well so far.
Yep. It needs to, of course, with the fertility comes extra food for the weeds. But
yes. Well, once it dries up, we can get that done. But
yeah, it was really that used to downslope. Oh, yeah, about another foot down. So, but now, of course, it's the richest soil. If I planted corn in there, it'd be taller than the farmer's corn is. There's
just 2 rows at the back that are still empty. The rest of it's been planted in the broccoli, early cabbage, celery, some cauliflower, and different salad greens.
Maybe I'll do a video on my machinery some days, because guys like that, you know.
Sure.
I can show the tractor I've got and a few other things that I use around here. Yeah, I should, because some people may not know, like if you're going to get a small property, and depending on the size of property you're going to get, what your expectations are, and matching that with what tools you need. If you have a 1/4 of an acre property, you don't need a $20,000 Kubota, you know, tractor. If you have a 2-acre, 3-acre property, you know, a small rototiller may not be enough. It depends on which, you know, how much time you have, what you want to do, you know.
How much of it you're gardening.
Sure, and I mean, we certainly don't mind elbow grease around here either, but just because I was working full time, I don't really have the time it takes to hand weed or hoe all this stuff, so I've made all my rows wide for my tiller so I can just zip in there quickly, and and I do all the weeding that way. But
and this year, since we are home more and you're here, we do have the time for that, but we'd still treat some of it as if we don't, in case something happens that called us away.